Go ahead.
Hello everyone. Today our group will present our group project outline. The members of our group are Izian, Honjuna, Rincon, Taeson. Before we start, let's look at the table of contents. We will introduce our topic, why we chose it and why it is important, brief background information of our topic and about the survey. A virtual workplace refers to a workplace taking place through technology, such as the internet or telephone. The virtual working environment has been continuously introduced to our lives since a few years ago. However, since last year, this rate has risen dramatically due to the outbreak of COVID-19, and many companies have implemented virtual working environments.
Virtual workplace has various advantages, but one disadvantage of decreasing employee loyalty happens. So our group decided to work on finding ways to increase employee loyalty in virtual working environments. And why does the decrease in employee loyalty become a problem? It is because employee loyalty has a significant correlation with a company's success. Employees with a higher loyalty to the company provide better quality services. The quality of service provided by employees is important because the service quality will consider customer loyalty, meaning that good service to customers leads to higher profits for the organization. This is why companies should focus on increasing their employee loyalty.
Find the most effective solution. Our team members search as Scopus journals, which are very reliable resources. As you can see on the screen, we'll look up journals that are highly related to our goal of finding solutions for increasing loyalty, such as investigating the impact of commitment, satisfaction, and loyalty of employees on providing high-quality service to customers. The dimension of trust in a virtual working environment. Then we analyze these journals. Next, in order to hear the options of those who have actually worked in a virtual environment, our team decided to conduct a survey. The step of preparing the survey will divide into four stages. Among these four steps, step 1 and step 2 are completed, and step 3 and step 4, which is picking out questions for the real survey and conducting the survey, is in progress. Thank you for listening.
Before we finish, can Changhyun Lee, Joseph Lee, and Lee Chang-gun tell us any tips or what you felt about our presentation?
It's a challenge, isn't it?
Okay, I would really lovely to answer your question and talk about your presentation, but I had some difficulties to join this Zoom because I didn't know that it was held by Zoom. Because in Professor Watts, I remember that you sent us Google Meet address too via email, I guess.
I don't recall giving a Google Meets email. It was it's this invite to the Zoom right now. Our classes are always in Zoom. Would you be able to comment on the presentation that you just heard? Kwan Junha and Kwan Taeson, Ijian, please make sure you get feedback from the other classmates that were here, right?
So can Joseph Lee or Lee Chang-gun tell us anything?
Well, I'm dealing with interacting internationally. Internationally, if a person asks you a question, it is polite to give a response. If you don't, you're not only not participating, but it's kind of rude. Joseph Lee, are you here or did you just set up the Zoom and walk away?
No, I'm here.
Then please comment.
Sorry, I was trying to get Chang'an into the Zoom link and I was trying to help him, so I couldn't really focus in class.
Okay. Next, who are the other students? Taeson Kwan, you're here. Yi Chang-gun, are you able to give a comment?
I'm I'm also sorry because of when I join into Zoom, it has technical
So-
problem, so
So
I can't hear their presentation.
Yi Jian and Kwan Junha and Kwan Taesun. Unfortunately, none of your other classmates were in class on time, able to participate. Would you be able to rewind and give a summary of your main points? And as we started the class saying, it helps to start with a bang, start with something powerful, trying to teach the world, teach your listeners something valuable and new to them.
Our group's topic was increasing employee loyalty in the virtual environment. And we chose this topic because employee loyalty is very related to the organizations, the profits of the organizations, because when the employee loyalty increases, they give out better services to the customers, which leads to higher profits of the organization. But in virtual environments, it is hard to get high loyalty of employees. So our group wanted to find solutions that could actually help companies that could improve the employee loyalties. And we actually looked up in Scopus journals that are very reliable resources, and we are conducting a survey related to our topic so we can get people's opinions about people who have actually worked in virtual environments and add into the solutions that we're looking. So that was the summary of our presentation. And can any one of those three who I asked before tell us any tips or their opinions?
Thank you.
Is it okay if it's a question? What would you think the best method for enhancing employee loyalty?
At first, I thought the increased fee would be the best method, but after looking up the Scopus journals, only by increasing the fee isn't the most effective part. So the company should try to enhance the relationship between their coworkers, and that would make employees stay in the company better and longer. So maybe a mentorship program or programs that could actually enhance the relationship between their workers would be the best method.
Okay. Yeah.
Are there any more questions?
I know that one of the qualities that a loyal employee has to have is like a pride and respect for the corporation, if I'm correct. And how would you train the employee to be able to do so?
I think that an employee would be proud of the company when they like their job. So as I said before, by becoming more friendly with people in the workplace, it will make them easier to like their workplace, and that will lead to their pride of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, continuing about the solution of the increasing employee loyalty.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that. I don't hear anybody else commenting, so I will give a couple of comments.
I actually have a question. So, how would employee loyalty improve the corporation's image?
As I mentioned in the summary, like if the loyalty of employees are higher, they give out better services to their customers. And by better services gotten by the employees, the customers will think that the company is a good place, and that will make the company look better.
Good. Any other comments? Hopefully, the group that has just presented. Ijian, I've heard you talk quite a bit. Very well. Thank you. Guan Junha, I've heard you talk a little bit. And Kwan Taesun, I heard you talk. I think I heard you talk. Actually, I didn't have too many notes about what you were saying. But again, as I was saying, the best way to participate according to social science research statements and what they have said is to make sure you understand the other person and talk for that other person, not just talking and stopping, but trying to listen to that other person as much as possible. So don't make a mistake that many students in lower level classes make, and you just talk, you just present, and then you finish, you hope the teacher gives you some marks, and then you go on your way with nice marks. That's not the way the world usually works. As a global citizen, you should be interacting with other people, and by interacting, it's a back and forth, it's a give and take, and the best global citizens are trying to be helpful to others. So you share something of value and then check that other person is getting that value. For example, me, when I'm talking to you guys, I'm trying to help you, but I realize a lot of the time what I'm trying to teach is not properly understood. So how's this for a test? Itianyan, what do you think I am talking about right now? In the last 10 seconds, I was actually summarizing a PPT that I gave to your group, and I give to every class at the beginning of the semester. Can you guess what I was generally talking about?
The correlation about give and take.
Yes. Do you understand which PPT I was referring to, and more specifically, that social sciences format of interacting? Does that ring a bell? Class requirements? Hint, 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 hint.
I have no idea.
Okay, good. There's a good example. I'm trying to teach for you guys, and everything I'm doing is for you guys, but a lot of people might not understand. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. Here are some of my notes, but more importantly, this file that I'm showing on the screen now is the most important. This is what social sciences research say everyone in society and social sciences, which includes business and international relations, etc., they must start with an effective title. But today, what I'm trying to make sure, this is a simple version. You don't just say a title, for example, project outline. You should be saying, for example, the listener, whoever you're listening, whoever you want listening, it helps to pay respect to that person so that person is paying attention. You don't have to use my name. I'm just saying whoever you're giving the presentation to, make sure they know the presentation is for them, and also make sure that you're able to follow up with things. So having a LinkedIn contact is great. A student number may be great for some professors. It's not good for me. I don't usually check student numbers very much at all. But again, even that's not that important. The biggest thing is keywords. You must understand when you're doing an interaction with, just as a global citizen, as anybody working in the world, as any student trying to interact with people in the world, you must understand whatever you have in your mind, great. Whatever you have researched, great. How hard you've worked, or if you have not worked that hard, a lot of time, your audience doesn't really notice that. Your audience is usually focused on your audience's mind. And your job to be successful and to be caring is to try to research that person, or at least guesstimate what are the keywords that are important to the person you're talking to. If you want a job and you're going for a job interview, before you go to the interview, you must research that company, research the person that you're going to meet, and identify what are the keywords they care about, and talk mostly about them. Even if you love having a nice pink dog with, I don't know, shaved head or whatever, that might be interesting, but you must understand those keywords that are of interest to the other person first. That's most important. And so start your presentation, start your title with the keywords. How? Try to do a few things. Any of you have guesses about what could you use for a title to get somebody else to interact with you, to be a global citizen and get somebody else to want to interact with you, or to go out and try to talk to an executive and get a job in a company. Your first words you say, or the first words you show, usually like a title, are very important. Can any of you think of not just the key words that the other person wants to hear, but general strategy, international interaction strategies? How can you get somebody to talk about you a lot, or to listen to what you're saying a lot? Anybody want to guess?
Something like, let's say,
Most people in the world will not sit down and listen to a stranger reading an essay. If I'm walking the street and I see somebody reading a book, I will just assume they're either a poet reading a poem, or there's some religious nut talking about how God's going to save the world, and I'll just, smile, shake my head, and keep on walking. So when you say essay, what type of essay? What are the specifics that would get some people to really pay attention?
Something that can make profits. For example, like, this is how I can make you money.
Maybe, yes, sure. A lot of people are motivated by money. Yes. So if you talk about, would you like free money, or I can make you free money, a lot of people will listen. That's true. However, a lot of research also shows that after you get a little bit of money, many people are not further motivated by money. Usually they're motivated by something else. And if you're just walking on the street and somebody offers you money, you might back up and say, is this guy a killer? Is he going to kidnap me, or something? At least that's what would be in my mind. Other people may be different. Don't get me wrong, I do like the idea of making money, but there are some, that's a good way to start. What else? What else could we talk about? What about Joseph?
Oh, I was going to say what exactly Changyan said, so I'm thinking of another strategy.
Great. We'll wait. Quickly guess.
This is, I don't know if this could be included, but maybe something like a rhetorical question.
Good. By giving some sort of response that most people in the world should understand, and it could get them talking. That's good. Another version of that, if I just help us move along, is the idea of a controversial statement. Something like an insult. If you say something that is shocking, like something that most people would want to debate or they'd want to argue with, that would be very, very helpful. Like walking by a group of women and saying that women's rights belongs in a shoebox, according to Donald Trump, that would get the women maybe getting up and about to attack me, and they'd be saying a lot. How did I protect myself with that terrible statement? Yes, it's controversial. Yes, it made the other people listen and start interacting with me. But how did I protect myself? By proper referencing, by saying it was said by Donald Trump, not me. So using controversial statements is a very good way to get people attention and start interacting with them. Next, after you have a controversial statement and, for example, just saying project outline, that's not very controversial and it's not going to get too many people interacting with you. Try to save the other person's time, and so they know exactly what you're talking about. If you just said free money, some people, if they are already doing very well, if they're already very smart and successful, they would think that's a crazy thing to say, and they'd probably avoid you. However, maybe if they're not very talented or not very successful and they're starving to death, then they probably come up and want some sort of free money. So it depends on who it is. But say something to get the other person's attention and save their time. Next, How would you go beyond just one short statement? By giving a summary of what you have found so far, and that's the abstract. Usually it's very short, less than 150 words. It's an executive summary of what you've found. Don't make the mistake of saying, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to show you research, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. That's not an abstract. That's not a summary. A summary is, what did you find? And so everybody following the social sciences format, you know the introduction, why the topic is important, why the world should care. And then you get into the background, what other reliable people, respectable people, maybe the benchmarking people, what they have said. That's what other key writers are saying, the background literature, the literature review. Show that and show the idea that you have valuable information. This slide that I'm showing on my screen right here, you guys should understand what this is saying. But you should also understand that I would say 95% of the world, or maybe 98, 99% of the world, have no idea about this. They don't care about Web of Science. They don't care about SSCI. They don't care about Scopus. They have no idea what it is. And a lot of people don't know what is reliable or what is not reliable. So,
excuse me, Professor.
Yes.
So we have one more group who wants to present today.
Okay.
Yes, so
we've talked for 30 minutes so far. The other group, I don't think they're going to be talking for 45 minutes. So hopefully the next group can use what I'm saying and just wing it. You don't have to have a perfect presentation. Actually, group one that you presented, in your link, you have a link of some materials and you have some documents started. You're starting to write a paper, great. But the PPT that you just presented today, it's actually not there, which isn't too much of a problem. It should be there. But our activities today are not just to present, but they're learning how to do better. So the second group that's about to present, take what I'm saying and try to incorporate it. Try to do this while you have whatever material already. Again, talking about reliable information. Although people don't know what Scopus is or Web of Science, you can simply say, this information comes from the most respected, most reliable brains and material in the world. This is what they say. And you could still quote Donald Trump saying something controversial and say that's also a reference from somebody you know. Do you agree with it or not? If you are wise, you should be saying, again, that whole idea that that controversial statement is showing the importance of the topic. But at the end, always the most important thing to do is reference. If you just say you think women's rights belongs in a shoebox, or what else has Donald Trump said? I don't even feel good repeating it. Can you guys remember something crazy Donald Trump has said? Lee Chang-gun, have you heard Donald Trump say anything crazy? You remember anything like that?
I remember him saying, but I don't really exactly remember that saying.
Okay, what is something that you kind of remember?
You mean Donald Trump was saying?
Yes, that's the question.
I saw before because he was president of United States, and I saw his saying in official standing.
Great. What did you say? Sorry, what did you hear or what did you read that makes him look like a freak, like a crazy person?
Makes America more greater than people.
Okay, I don't think that makes me crazy, but maybe it makes some people crazy. What about Kim So-hyun? Can you comment and give any statement from any person that is controversial? Donald Trump is a very easy example. He says a lot of things like, women's rights belong in a shoebox, or women are only supposed to take care of men, or women belong at home. I completely disagree with all of those things, but those are some things that Donald Trump is associated with saying. And so what I'm telling you is you start with a controversial statement to show why a topic is important. And then after you say it, before the listener punches you in the nose, you must clarify, as I'm clarifying in this sheet right now, that this is just a reference that was said by Donald Trump. So if I say all women should only serve men, according to Donald Trump, that should make every woman listening angry and sort of hate me until they hear it said by Donald Trump. And then I can go on to summarize how there's a lot of research arguing that this is what this expert of the world says. This is what another expert of the world says. So can you give an example, Kim So-hyun, of something controversial that either Donald Trump has said or anybody else has said? Can't hear you, Kim So-hyun.
I don't know about social and polite as well, but I think I will build a great world
Okay, why does that make you crazy? Why is that controversial to you?
because it's blocking Mexicans.
Okay, so somebody says one country deserves to be surrounded by a cement wall or blocked off. He has said some countries, I feel really bad quoting him, but he has said India and Africa are shitholes and they are basically toilets. But that's Donald Trump saying. So if I walk around, especially in front of people from India or South Asia or Africa, and I say those things, obviously if I said South Africa and India are shitholes, those people would be crazy angry and start like getting excited. And then I said, that's what Donald Trump says. And this other person says this, and the other person says this, and another person says this. All of that could be getting them involved in talking with you and communicating with you. Hopefully, you are using good references. Does anybody else have an example in your research? Next week, you are supposed to go survey people. If you walk up to a valuable person and just say, I have a project outline, I want to survey you, even though I love you guys and I want to help you guys, I would probably lie and say, oh, I'm a little bit busy. And sorry, I can't talk now. Because it's not controversial, it's not interesting to me, and you're obviously not saving my time because you haven't explained it well yet. I love the idea of how to get people to be more loyal to an organization. That's important. So what is something maybe controversial related to that? This first group could say, Lee Ji-yoon and Kwan, I think your classmates, did they, Kwan Tae-sun and your other partner, did they already leave? Anyway, either of you guys, can you think of a statement related to people being loyal to an organization or not? Can you think of something that is controversial? Lee Chang-gun and Lee Chang-hyun, Joseph, all of you, we just heard a presentation. We know the topic is talking about what are the main factors that increase employer loyalty. So the idea of increasing employer loyalty, that alone is the most important. But we're actually talking about in a virtual work environment, that's secondary to just employee loyalty. Why is it important? Any of you, or every single one of you?
What was the question again?
Joseph, can you comment on that?
Why is increasing employee loyalty important?
Right. So what is your answer? That's the question. What's your answer?
Oh, am I answering?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's because loyal employees can push productivity in workplace.
Okay. people that are loyal help a company produce more. Right. But most people, I don't think most people in the world care about that, right? Do you care about that?
No.
What do you care about being loyal to an organization?
It improves the image of the corporation.
Sure. If I found out one organization in the world where anybody that was associated with them, if they became interested and involved and they never left, whatever it is, whether it's a Bible group or something else, or a cult or a company, I would be interested in that because it's not popular. A lot of people, they join, they work for a little while, and then, especially in North America and Europe, they're starting to leave to other organizations. So I would want to know why people stay there. And so have any of you heard of Jeff Jones and the idea of drink the Kool-Aid? That's a phrase related to a group that was a cult. They attracted people to come and join their group. They convinced them that that is the future. That's the best way in the world to be enlightened, to be spiritual, to be blessed, to be close to God, whatever. And then everybody drank Kool-Aid and they all died. That type of thing is not normal. It's not what most people do. So why would any people stay with that? Maybe talking about something related to that might attract their attention. So what we're talking about, why we're talking about it, is start with keywords. What are the keywords to attract people's attention? What are the keywords that anybody might be interested in, especially your target audience? Use those keywords in your title, on your first page, in your abstract, and quite a lot. And then you talk about what you're teaching the world. And then you say why. Why is it important to care about this? And then what other people are saying, especially reliable people, reliable scientists, reliable consultants, reliable experts, and crazy people in universities, crazy people in government, crazy people in companies, or CNN or BBC or Facebook or blogs or any news media or social media. You can reference both. Lots of references is usually good. So that's what we should be doing. Here is the class. This again is the class requirements. And on slide 16, it shows the due dates of what we're talking about. This area here, an example of a good short 8-page social science research project is here. It has 8.5 pages plus references. It surveyed just 25 students, 5 from 4 different countries, and it referenced 2 books about manage, but it's super, super famous. If I show you what it is, can you see the screen here? Soyeon Kim, can you read the title?
Asian Management in the 21st Century.
Right, and so it says something, it teaches something the very first, the first line. The journal is super, super reliable and respected, Asia Pacific Journal of Management. It's teaching something here. Generally, the introduction is, it's also interesting, but you can skip over some of that. And what they're saying is, historically, management came from differences here. And in 1760, China started to identify management, and there is a book about it. And then they're referencing, this is a reference to that book from 1760. And then they said, it's not just China, it's around the world. And then they said, Tolstoy, in his famous book, which was created in 1861, talking about how to manage Russian people, they reference another book. So it's referencing 2 sources that are generally known around the world, but then he basically just surveyed 25 people. Several from USA, from Denmark, from India, from China, and he showed that people from USA, they care almost most important for them is personal wealth. And people in India are almost the same. It's very high on their list of what's important. But what is least important for people in China, they're saying that personal wealth is the lowest thing they're interested in. It's actually kind of bad. People in Denmark also, the idea of personal wealth is least important to them, most important in other areas. So it helps for you guys to talk about things like this. I think Lee Chang-hyung, you talked today about how personal wealth and money is most important. Well, great. It is most important to people like Donald Trump, but shockingly, people in Denmark and in China think it's the least important. That statement there, that very short statement, that might think, why? Are people in Denmark crazy? Are people in China crazy? And then you say it's not just that. People in India also feel the same way. So this idea, it's not reflecting your interest yet. It's just reflecting things with proper use of referencing. So with that said, again, let's go through. There's many different examples of this. Some student papers are talking about that. This is the paper I just finished showing you, the idea of Asian management 21st century. They referenced 2 books. They referenced some smart surveying. They also referenced the journal, then they referenced themselves to promote themselves. This is how to effectively interact with people, how to do a proper presentation, how to start a communication with other people according to social society. It's best if you surround yourself with the best material. For example, find a Scopus article and make your research the same style and same format. Replicate that style. Again, go through the abstract, intro, background literature, methods, results, conclusion. And again, focus on the references. Talk about the references. Lee-Jian, when you were talking, did you say you were referencing anybody? Did you say any comments that were shocking? Did you say anything to get anybody's real attention? Maybe you want to think more about that so that the next time you interview students or you survey students, you will get more people participating. Especially, has anybody heard of people on the radio, especially in North America, the radio stars, they say, or the bloggers, they say crazy things to get the listeners to argue. That controversial aspect will help. So please be aware of that. There is a format to doing it. There is a listing the information you have is good. The next group, please go ahead and start using those suggestions. Your group, you have a link to a folder, but there's nothing in your folder. So you actually haven't done the linkage of material properly yet. So sucks to be you. While you're getting ready, every group has this type of link together. The first group, there's lots of information. You can see lots of files. There is a PPT. That type of thing is good. The last group that was Lee Chang-hyung's group, when you're trying to present, your folder, it's empty. So I can't even help you if I wanted to. Can't give you full marks either.
Now you're ready. And after the class, we'll upload all of our documents. Sorry for being late.
Can somebody in the group just tell us what is your controversial topic? What is going to attract our attention? What is your title?
The brutality of police.
So you're saying police are brutal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're trying to talk about the police brutality and about the solution and the situation right now.
So Lee Chang-han, I see you're trying. Joseph Lee and Lee Chang-gun, you would be a better global citizen if you do something. Right now, I can't see or hear you doing anything. I don't even know if you're in the class.
I'm trying to get the PowerPoint presentation ready, but I think that's a problem.
Yes. So remember the audience, right? Whatever's in your mind is nice, but it's less important compared to your audience. So respect the audience, talk to the audience while you're trying to do something. Some people can talk their way through a presentation even without PPT or Prezi or notes.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, now I can see it.
So our group is talking about the police brutality in the United States of America, and Lee Chang-gyun will start the presentation.
Before begin, I will present a table of contents. First, police brutality in the United States of America, the situation. Second, solutions and evaluation to end police brutality. Lastly, conclusion.
So, for example, many metropolitan police departments in crowded cities such as Chicago and New York use extralegal strategies against associates of the community of Italian immigrants in efforts to forcefully regulate on organized crimes. So these are the questionnaires that we prepared to use in our papers. So we think other audiences are aware of the concept of excessive police suppression, but they will probably know about US police's over-suppression. Police's over-suppression also happens in Korean society, so we want to know they notice these situations, and we also wanted to investigate if there were any options to resolve this situation that often happens. So these are the papers we cited. These are the papers from the Scopus, which are really reliable. And the thing that we want to talk about from these papers are, so there are some interesting facts that we found out that, okay, so I'll start. The demonstrations and violence that marked 2020 were fueled by manufacturers in the United States, for example, political polarization, police brutality, and racial injustice were among the most commonly cited ones. Increasingly, scholars and observers suggest that the burden of the COVID-19 pandemic was also a major cause. Groups that have negative experiences with the police are more likely to mistrust the medical system and to report unmet needs. Our findings demonstrate that simply focusing on the traditional barriers to care, such as lack of insurance or health literacy, is limited. The paper concludes that it is reasonable to believe that race and profit play active and influential roles in the American criminal justice system. It reiterates that the black letter law or rights have not worked well for Black people in America. Those who profit from the status quo continue to create systems and barriers that frustrate equal treatment and enjoyment of human rights. During pandemics, interventions should not be more burdensome than necessary, and relief programs should be devised to buffer the burden. In the aftermath of pandemics, recovery programs cannot be limited to the domains of public health and the economy. It is key to also repair the relationship between citizens and the political system.
These are the solutions and evaluation to end police brutality. So as you can see on the left side on the image, citizens should immediately start a protest. A few amount of people protesting may not affect the world very much, but there were approximately 26 million people in the United States of America who claimed that they have protested after the death of Floyd, as the poll shows below. Conclusion? Police brutality not only targets Black people, but also white and Asians too. This is an unacceptable matter and should be terminated immediately. To aid this step, people can support easily by protesting simply on a social media or even outside, spending a small donation to Campaign Zero. To prevent further disturbing cases similar to the George Floyd and the 14-year-old boy, further implications that will end police brutality will be necessary. And based on these information, we plan to conduct a fact-finding survey in Korea as well. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Good. What was the first thing I was saying when you started our group today?
Controversial statements.
No, even before that. I think Jian, what was the first thing I was saying right at the beginning of today? Who are you speaking to?
Huh?
Any of you. Why are you talking? Who are you speaking to? That is a question I'm asking every student. Jian?
Rates?
Right. And how should you do that? So far, Lee Chang-yun is saying things and then he stopped. What is he missing from what the class is teaching? It's the most important part of being a global citizen. How do you talk to anyone? You're supposed to check that other people understand. What's in your mind, let's say it is only valuable if other people recognize it. Let's say Lee Chang-hyun did some police brutality. What are you going to do? His presentation said you must have a protest. So the listeners must do something. It's the same way in some sense with any interaction. Lee Chang-hyun and your whole group, you Joseph Lee and Lee Chang-gun. What about Lee Chang-gun yourself? How well were you understood?
Oh, you meant understanding about our topic?
That was the question I gave you. Yes.
I understand it.
No.
90%.
No. Thank you. I don't care if you understood it. That's my point. You made the message. How well were you understood by anybody outside of your group? Is that better to understand?
Yeah.
Lee Chang-hyun is making fun of you. Lee Chang-gun, you're not being understood.
I think they can understand because this topic is famous for everyone because
What you're
we
saying is parochial or ethnocentric. It's only in your values, only in your opinion. The only way to be a global citizen is to respect other people. You think it's good, great, but I think it's good too. It doesn't matter what the group of insiders think. It matters what your listener thinks. Can you show me anybody that cares? Can anybody here summarize the importance of what you just said? Outside of your group, did you just volunteer? I think Lee Chang-hyun is having a good time, but he's just volunteering. He doesn't care about getting marks. He's at the top of what he's doing, and marks comes easy, so this is just volunteer. You don't need marks, right? If you want marks, show me it was understood by anybody. Show me somebody cares. Show me somebody is going to want to cooperate and do a survey with you.
I think there were 3 candidates, but I think 2 of them left, and there's only 1 candidate who can summarize our topic, and it would be Jin Lee, I guess.
So your group have presented about the brutality of the police, and your group are giving out suggestions to solve that problem, and the suggestion you gave us is that people should start protesting, and that was what I got.
Perfect.
Do you care?
Do I care?
Ijun, yes. You're supposed to go beyond your view. If you're only talking about what you know, that's parochial. If you accept that there are other people, that is ethnocentric. If you accept that they have other values and try to understand what their values are, that is getting into more of the global citizenship. It's good. The president of our university, they want us to introduce ourselves. Anybody can do that well. They want us to say, Kim Young University is awesome. Kim Young University is awesome. It is awesome. It's awesome in many ways. One way is it gives you a lot of very valuable information. And they did show a couple of references. They've shown some journals. And one of those journals said generally the only way to resolve this is to protest immediately. Really? Ijun, do you think you want to make better police, to make a better society? Do you have to protest? Do you think that's the only solution?
Well, maybe if I look for more, there would be other solutions, but like the solution that can be immediately being in process would be protesting by people. So I actually wanted to ask them a question about their solutions. So I wanted to ask them if there are any solutions they can think out of that other than people starting protesting. What can the government do to solve this problem?
Good.
So we were thinking about like what could governments do, but actually like brutality is kind of vague, and like racism is kind of a vague. So like if we make something about these kind of things as a law and we inhabit some things, and I can't really say that it'll be a very efficient law because law should be very specific, but the topic that we're dealing with is very vague. So that is why we selected protesting, because um, if we protest, oh, why are you laughing, Sean? What?
I'm actually timing how long you talk, and then I'm going to be asking even your partners what you said. I'm checking, does anybody understand you?
Okay, so yeah, so we thought that protesting is better than making a law and asking government to do something. Because protesting, when we protest, like many people will know about it. And I hope that it could change their minds and know how important this kind of thing is. So yeah, that's why we selected protest.
Okay, I understood. The question that was given to you was, are there other solutions? Are other solutions possible? That was the question, that was the wording of Lee Jian. And so I'm going to ask, Lee Chang-gun, did you hear Lee Chang-hyun say any other solution possible? Can you say any other solution possible? I think with your silence, that means no. You didn't hear Joseph, you didn't hear Lee Chang-hyun answering the question. He has something in his mind. He likes protests. He was saying government is crap. Right. So in his mind, he's thinking about that. But the question was, what is a different solution? And he just said, protesting is best. So that's the point. So many people, and he cares. Lee Chang-hyun, he cares. He's a good student, but he cares so much about his mind, he's forgetting what listeners or other people in society are talking about. Or maybe we're not even noticing what the question is. And so if we forget what the solution is, and if we keep thinking our idea is best, we might miss something better. We might miss being able to connect. So Lee Chang-gun or Joseph, would you be able to help your teammate?
So a different method of protesting could be like you can gather people who have the same thought as you and willing to protest. They can go outside to a place where lots of people gather, and they could start a protest there by holding, for example, banners and posters and flags that has the writings of whatever you're protesting about, and in my case, which is the George Floyd.
Okay. Dong, what did you just hear in the last 30 seconds or in the last minute? What did you hear he say? Can you summarize that? Or Lee Chang-gun, can you summarize that? Or Lee Chang-hyun, anybody else in the group? Can you try to summarize what he just said? Again, knowing the question was, what are other solutions? Lee Chang-hyun said something, but it didn't answer the question. And Joseph Lee just said something. So I'm just asking you, what did you hear Joseph Lee say? Gong?
I think it was something similar to my.
It's not just me, right? I am a crazy professor. I admit it. I like talking to Lee Chang-hyun on Sunday morning and on the weekend when it's supposed to be party time. I love talking about business and helping people develop. But I am a freak. So I want you guys to realize, don't copy me. Learn what you are doing. Learn how to be a global citizen. Learn that your ideas are great, but at the same time, they could be a disease infecting you because other people are asking you something and you're not hearing it. You keep saying what you like to talk about. Lee Chang-hyun loves police brutality and he loves protest. He thinks protesting is a great solution, so he talks about that. And Joseph Lee is, I think, saying the same thing, but that's not the question.
So the other solutions, other than protesting, could be, as I said before, donating money to a campaign called Campaign Zero, which supports, which pretty much helps police brutality to soften down. So donating to a campaign could be a method other than protesting.
Awesome. I think that's a great start. I never heard you say that before. Maybe we can rewind the tape and listen. But it's nice that you think you said it, and I believe you feel you said it.
In the presentation.
Anytime today. I never heard Project Zero before, or Campaign Zero. I just wrote it down. Donate money to Campaign Zero. Great. And then you said Campaign Zero helps police brutality soften. Great. But I still don't know what it is. Are you just giving money to Donald Trump? Is that what it is? Is Project Zero or Campaign Zero, is that a Donald Trump trick to get people to donate money? You realize he said, donate to this program, like to reelect him, and it will help. But he pocketed I think he got $110 million from people doing that, and he just used it for a party for himself. So,
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I guess the time is done and I actually have something to do right after this class. So can you, if there is something important that you wanted to say?
Yeah, you guys need marks and you don't have any marks yet. So I'm done. If you like, we can end the class now, but you haven't got marks or comments from your classmates yet. Again, I will repeat it to make sure it's understood. Whatever you say is nice, but if you want marks, get it from your listener. Get feedback and marks from your classmates.
Okay, then we need feedback.
Exactly. That's what I've been talking about since the beginning of today.
Okay, so then I get the feedback and I'll accept the feedback. And
Lee Ji-hyun is there. You can give them a mark, and Lee Chang-hyun, you can give Lee Ji-hyun a mark. It's best if you explain why you have those marks.
Okay, then we share the feedback with you.
I'm waiting in class for that. Yes, all class. That's what I've been asking for.
Okay, thank you for the class today. And
Lee Chang-hyun, you're not listening. Give her a mark and say why.
Right now?
Yes. Lee Ji-hyun, give him a mark, the other team a mark, and say why.
So the top mark that we can get today is 10. Is that right?
Correct.
So I would like to give them 8 or 9 because, as I just asked, like in the presentation, there weren't that many solutions that people could do. So I would like to give the top mark, but because of that, I would like to reduce 1 or 2 marks.
Acceptable.
Yeah, and that was why.
Okay. I didn't hear the whole presentation, but just by hearing your abstracted presentation, I think I would give you 9 because the topic was interesting and the answers that you gave us from the question that we gave you was also satisfying, but like just my preference, 9. Yeah.
I have a different opinion. I would like to give group I would like to give Chien's group a 10 because she was talking about, from my memory, employee loyalty, and I got to know different the meaning of employee loyalty and why it's important, what it could do, and it pretty much had every information that I was curious of, and that's why I would like to give it the mark of 10.
Okay, so class is finished. I'm not going to make you stay longer. I highly suggest post your information in the class Facebook group and ask other people to comment. And in return for people doing this, not just basics. For example, Yi Chang-un, you said 8 or 9 out of 10. Say why. And Joseph Lee, you said 10 out of 10 is perfect. Okay, say what you learned. That type of thing would check. Anyway, I'm finished. If you have questions, I'll stick around and help.